If you're just starting to study for the CFP exam, or even if you've been studying for a few months, here are 6 actually useful free study tools from the CFP Board that most candidates never find. Starting with number 1, learning objectives. I'm going to go on a limb and say that most of you watching this have never seen this document, much less reviewed it. And that is costing you study time. You see, this doc is technically geared towards educators and test providers, but it is your secret weapon for making sense of the overwhelming amount of information you are trying to cram into your brain. It lays out all the learning objectives for each of the knowledge domains. For example, here are the 2 pages covering retirement planning. Now, if you're ever reading your pre-study book and thinking, wait, what are we talking about? Where are we? How does this all fit in? The learning objectives are a roadmap. They give you context on what you need to know, why it's important, and helps create some connections across topics. I find it helpful to review the learning objectives of each of the domains before diving in. Now, it is not a perfect guide. It doesn't tell you exactly what is and is not tested in the exam, but most candidates are studying blind without its broader context. Number 2, use of the CFP marks. You will most definitely get a question or 2 about trademark usage on the exam. Now, these are some of the easiest questions to get right. And remember, each question, no matter how hard or easy it is worth 1 point on the exam. Now, the board offers several free resources covering the professional conduct domain in general, and use of CFP marks, well, it is pure gold. This page in particular lists the guidelines, examples of what complies and what does not. This table is basically the cheat code for getting trademark questions right. Number 3, roadmap to the code and standards. Another super helpful document that the board shares on professional conduct is the roadmap to the code and standards. Now, if you've tried reading the actual code and standards document and gotten lost in all the legalese, you are not alone. Most candidates find ethics confusing and subjective, but the board actually gives you a decoder ring. When the board revamped the code and standards a few years back, they released this guide to walk people through the framework. This doc helps you understand what applies when, instead of just memorizing a bunch of rules that sound same, but different somehow. I actually made a whole video based on this roadmap and the Code of Standards. You can find it linked above and in the description. Many exam prep providers suggest reviewing the code at least 3 times during your studies. And now you've got an easy way to do it on the go. Number 4, case studies for applying the code. Now, speaking of professional conduct feeling subjective, what if I told you the board basically published a free ethics question bank? This is probably the most valuable free resource that most candidates never touch. The board's 90-page case study compendium lays out example questions and answers, plus the rationale for why answer C is better than answer A. If you've ever been frustrated by ethics questions that seem to have multiple right answers, this is your life now. Now, during your second or third pass of reviewing ethics, make sure to go through this doc. Just know that the answers, well, they show up right under the questions, so figure out a way to cover it up so you don't accidentally cheat yourself. Number 5, formula sheet and tax table. Now, you've probably heard about these during your coursework, but here's what separates passing candidates from those that fail: actually printing them out and getting familiar with them before exam day. These are the exact formulas and tax tables you will have access to while you are taking the exam. They're going to be available inside the Prometric interface, but you're going to want to print them out so that you can mark them up and have them handy as you study. For the tax tables in particular, keep them next to you as you go through tax and retirement planning questions. Familiarize yourself with what is and is not included and how the tables are organized. Don't be that candidate who's fumbling through 7 pages of tax tables in a panic during the exam. And if investment math was your hardest area, I've got a video walking through the formula sheet. I'll link it in the cards above. Number 6, the free practice exam. Okay, at this point, you already know that everyone who registers for the exam gets a free practice exam from the board. Take it about 2 to 3 weeks before your actual exam date, not earlier. You want it to be a realistic assessment of where you stand, not a demoralizer. Before you take the practice exam, you're going to want to know that it has one, shall we say, interesting feature that could make it completely useless if you're not prepared. I won't spoil it here, but check out my video about how and when to take the board's free practice exam, and more importantly, how to work around this major flaw. And if you're ready to start studying, check out my video walking you through the code and standards. It's already gotten thousands of views in just a few months. Someone left a comment that they'd listened to it 30 times. Don't worry, you don't have to do that. Happy studying, and I'll see you in the next one.